Agency owners have a ton to think about every single day, from serving clients to growing the business, leading the team, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's the back office grind. Things like reconciling commissions, payroll, tax prep, HR compliance, blah, blah, blah. It's all necessary, but incredibly time consuming. That's where our friends and partners over at Agency Point come in to help. Agency Point specializes in all the details agencies can't afford to ignore: accounting, tax, HR, and legal. They can even handle commission reconciliation so that nothing slips through the cracks. And if you've heard us talk, you know that this is one of the most important things that agencies must do. By managing the back office essentials, they free up agency leaders and their leadership team to focus on strategy, growth, and clients. An agency that works with them told us, Agency Point gave me back 10 hours a week. And now I spend that time building my business, knowing the foundation is solid. If you're looking for a trusted partner who can help lighten the load without competing for your strategy seat, check out Agency Point.
If you're not part of a mastermind, I would just think about, what are you trying to do inside your agency? And is this a model, or is this a structure that might help you create some accountability for yourself as you're trying to set your goals, and create some deeper relationships that really might be able to help push you forward?
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carey Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
Things are going really well today. I'm feeling really good. Our agents are all getting geared up for 2026. So I feel like we're making incredible progress as a team. And I actually wanted to share something. You know, we did an intro call this week, and you never know what's going to happen with a new client, right? And I was surprised. You know, I had a historical client refer these people to me. And I did not expect what was going to come out of their mouth when they said, we were on a carrier trip and we met one of your clients that you worked with a couple of years ago. And we were so impressed by these agents that, you know, they've only been around for maybe 10, 12 years, but they've grown an incredible agency. And they asked them, what changed? Like what caused your trajectory to go a certain way? And sadly, my name, or not sadly, unbelievably, my name was mentioned in saying, hey, we took a look at our agency. We called Carey, and she did a valuation and gave us a health checkup of our agency, and it made us look at it differently. And it's changed the game for us. And, you know, so many people we work with, we do those things. You know, these happen to be people I've stayed in touch with, but I didn't know that's what they were saying to other people. It meant a lot to me. It actually put me back for a second. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, oftentimes on our team, I say we don't cure cancer, and we're not doing brain surgery, and we're not doing all these things. But the reality is we help people in one of their largest assets look at it differently. And it was really cool to hear them say, if you want to know what's been part of our growth of our agency, it's because we've talked to people that gave us a different perspective, and it allowed us to see our agency differently, build it differently, and really put us on a different path. So I don't know. That was a pretty cool day for me. You know, we get reviews and we get all kinds of stuff, but when you hear that through a new client, that's what someone is saying about you, that was pretty good day, I will tell you.
Yeah, that one was a good call. I have the privilege of being on a lot of those intro calls. If you schedule a call on our website, you'll probably get me, not Carey. Surprise. Some people are a little bit surprised when that happens, but I get to hear a lot of feedback like that. It was good for you to be on that one and hear that feedback as well, because, you know, when I was growing up, when people asked me what I wanted to do, especially in my later college or my later high school years, I would just say, I just want to make a difference in people's lives. And I truly do feel at Agency Focus like we are making a difference in people's lives. So we're helping business owners. People come to us in their time of crisis, which sometimes, creates a little bit of a fire drill on our team, but we get them through some hard times. It's very similar to insurance, right? People come to them, your agency, in a time of need, and on the financial side, people come to us in a time of need. So it makes me feel a little bit special in that way that we're making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a really good. When I'm thinking back on the week, like that was a really good week. And when you're mired in the day to day, and you're trying to get through budgets, and honestly, making sure that you're giving the time and care to each of our clients. When someone says something like that, it's like, wow, that was a good day, really, really good day. So the other thing, Lindsay, is we've done a couple new things this year, and as I was. Mm-hmm. Just as all of our clients are planning for 2026, I'm also doing the same thing and trying to plan for 2026 and think about, what did we try that worked? What do we need to continue to try? What is our growth trajectory, and how are we going to position ourselves? So we do the same planning process as everybody else. But the thing that stood out is we did something new this year. We started being involved in some masterminds, and working with some networks in order to do some masterminds, doing some agency-led masterminds. And it's been an incredibly rewarding experience. It's different engagement than what we have done before. It's a one-to-many instead of one-to-one. But man, I'd love to talk about the power of masterminds and what we've learned about that, and give a description, because I think people say words, and they all mean different things to different people. I'd love to talk through, and maybe not say specifically which mastermind we're describing, because they all have some variances, but I'd love to talk about the power of masterminds, and maybe answer some questions about what that looks like. So if someone's not part of a mastermind, we can give them something to think about.
Yeah, I think for me, I almost use mastermind group as board of directors. And there are a couple groups that we're referring to when we say that we've had the privilege of coming in and seeing these agencies have created relationships deep enough with one another where they are looking at each other as boards of directors for their own agency. And I think that's incredibly important, mostly because you guys operate in a silo. You guys truly, truly do. When I was looking for a job recently, I said to someone, I think I might go work at an agency. And they said, Lindsay, you're an idiot. If you work in one agency, you've worked in one agency. And that was Chris Paradisa, who told me that, the only person who would probably call someone an idiot when they call them for help.
He did not say. I'm sure he's saying that, just think about what experience that's giving you, right? Yeah.
He said I was an idiot, but that's okay. I think it's, you really do. If you've worked in one agency, you've worked in one agency. It's incredibly valuable to see deeply inside of another agency. And it's really fun to allow other agencies the privilege to have deeper knowledge into what other businesses are doing around them, and see them root for each other's success, right? At the end of the day, you guys technically are all competitors to one another, and taking your guard down a little bit and showing other agencies helps you all go further, because there's enough business to go around for everyone.
Yeah. So, I think the most impactful masterminds are when there's context. And there's lots of different masterminds that business owners can be part of. So, one is you bring people from all different industries together, and they share ideas, because the common challenges that business owners face are, how do you find and lead great people? How do you define who your customer is? How do you scale whatever it is you're doing? And how do you manage growth and profitability? Like, if I'm going to pick the top things that are overarching things that business owners have to manage, is people is at the top of the list. And then, so there's power to bringing multiple people in different industries together. But when you do that, which is not the masterminds we're part of. And in our masterminds, we're all part of the insurance industry. And in some ways, you can think like your view gets really closed whenever everybody's in the same industry. But the flip side is if you're looking at all businesses from different industries, sometimes you can almost excuse certain things or have an out, give yourself an out because, well, my industry is different because of this. When you're in a mastermind and everybody's in the same industry and you've shared data, you guys know what your growth rates are, who your carrier mix is, what your what's the market in that region versus another. It takes the bullshit meter away, to be quite honest. It really makes it so, listen, we're all in this together. And if you're sitting next to someone that's driving double-digit growth and doing it very, very profitably, and you're in a similar situation, maybe a slightly different marketplace, and that's not happening inside your agency, it does remove some of the things that other industries might not understand and allows you to really dig in and say, hang on a minute, there's some things that maybe I need to rethink so I can position myself to achieve the goals that I'm trying to achieve. So I love that we are part of a few masterminds where there is complete clarity. They share all of their data. They share, they sign NDAs and they share what's the structure of their agency, what's their growth rate, what's their profitability rate, how do they staff what are the roles inside their agency? Do they combine sales and service, or they have clear delineation between whoever's selling and servicing? What niches are they part of? Or do they have areas of focus? Never does anybody share here's who my clients are. That's not what we're asking, but they share how big is your top client? What's your client concentration? And what does that structure look like inside your agency? And once you do that, it's just so much more rich, the conversations you can have with each other. But the creativity that comes out of it is also pretty cool. So, I love that we can take our love of data and aggregate what's happening inside this group and be able to consolidate it in a way that everybody's comfortable sharing. And then we form really strong relationships and really deep conversations.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that the data sharing really, when you say takes away the bullshit meter, there are also rooms we've been invited into where there's not data sharing. And for example, let's say you're talking about technology, right? You don't know if the agency that's talking is 500,000 in revenue and solely personal lines, and you are 200,000 or you're 2 million in revenue and solely commercial lines. So the technology that they're talking about, while it's interesting, doesn't matter to you. It's probably not going to work for you. And it takes away the shiny object syndrome and really puts in perspective, what are other agencies like me doing? And what can I do to push myself to the next level? And that's not to say that someone who's 2 million in revenue can't learn from someone that is 500,000 in revenue. You absolutely can. They are much more flexible. They can test things out. They can do a lot of things differently from you that you can learn a ton from. But it takes away, it answers the question for you with context of why are they doing this? And does it relate to me at all? Right. So if someone might have a completely remote team, they're going to do something differently than an agency that has a staff that is all, the average age is 70 years old and everybody comes into the office in a suit. Right. That's going to be completely different. It's those little pieces of context that allow you to go so much deeper in the conversation.
Yeah, I think I view it this way. Agents have such a finite amount of time. And listen, at any given month, you could probably find 10 different conferences that you could attend. You could go to a carrier event. You could go to your local, state association. You could go to your AMS's event. You can go to your network's event. You can go to a technology, an InsurTech event in your area. Like, you can find events all over the place, and you can find information, and it's overload. It is. But without context, you could start chasing different things and really mire your team in a time when they also are short on time because of the hard market, the volume of work, or the softening market in some areas where they're shopping on the, as rates are coming down, there's your clients are actually expecting you to give them multiple quotes when you're actually stuck between the two. So I love that inside a mastermind that shares data, and actually you form relationships with people, you understand more about their business, you have much deeper context and much deeper conversations than you're going to get from a 30-minute session here or a 5-minute conversation there. And you really don't know much about the people that are giving you the advice or standing on a stage or holding a mic. In this situation, you actually gain context so you can start making decisions for yourself. The other thing I love is there's power in a group of agents that are all interested in growth. Like, you also might be listening to someone where their idea of growth is 6% growth, and that's what they've done study, and you're at 22% growth rate. Like, those are different models. Like, they just are.
Incredibly, yeah.
There's power in the group of trying something out collectively and trying it at the same time and sharing your experiences at the same time. So I'm thinking of one of our mastermind groups that we invited, a solution in to talk about what, some of these things that are happening with AI and happening across the board. And there was a majority of them decided to test it and do it together. Now you've got a built-in, hey, we're all going through this together. We can give feedback. We can talk to each other, which is a really nice idea to be able to do that. Because oftentimes that's where things fall apart, is in the integration, and knowing that other people are going through it at the same time becomes far more impactful. So, if you're not part of a mastermind, I would just think about, what are you trying to do inside your agency? And is this a model, or is this a structure that might help you create some accountability for yourself as you're trying to set your goals, and create some deeper relationships that really might be able to help push you forward,
Yep. I think all of those things are incredibly important. I think where we are right now with the industry, there's no shortage of agencies who want to help each other, but also agencies who feel like they're on an island. So building yourself a board of directors full of other agency owners who know what you're going through, they understand your struggles, is absolutely never going to be a bad idea right now.
Yeah. And, while you get different perspectives, there is no one size fits all. That's the beauty of this. But there's a common knowledge about what the challenges are and what the opportunities are in this industry. And gaining some creative solutions to that is pretty cool to watch and see and experience. The other thing, you started it with this, but it's the craziest thing. Like, I used to be in the tech world. My first company was a tech startup, and there was never going to be a situation where a group of tech companies were going to come together in a mastermind and share ideas and try to solve problems together. Like, that industry, I never have experienced it. Like, I've never heard of that. That doesn't exist. This industry is super unique, that you can have in essence, a group of competitors come together and say, this is how I've done it, and maybe you should try it. These are the tools that I've used. We were just at Hawksoft, and there was a they called it a mastermind. That, there wasn't data sharing. Not everybody knew the size of the agencies and et cetera. But there was a group of agents that came together and we talked about what's your tech stack? Like, tell me everything you use in your tech stack. Why do you have it? And because it was, part of the Hawksoft owners group, there was a lot of commonality in the room, and there were some things that were different. And there were some people sitting in there going, listen, all of you guys are using it. This is a problem I'm trying to solve. It's probably something that I should try and use, because there was enough sharing to get that context. But that doesn't exist in other industries. And I feel like what a miss if you're not taking advantage of the deeper sharing in this industry. If you're an agency owner, there's no reason to go it alone. It can be lonely being the owner of an agency. And I think that if you're not aware that these groups exist, I would encourage you to find a mastermind group that fits you, that you surround yourself with people that are like-minded people. And I just think there's a huge miss if you're not engaging in one of these groups, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yep. Completely agree. Any final thoughts on mastermind groups before we wrap up today?
I guess the only thing I would say is if you're interested in this and you don't know where to start, we know several mastermind groups that exist, and we'd be happy to connect you with them. We'd be happy to try and help you navigate it, because I think it's a powerful thing. I'm really excited that we were invited into multiple different masterminds in order to facilitate those conversations and also provide benchmarking and data aggregation for those groups, which has been pretty cool for us to be able to play that role. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, I would encourage you to reach out. We have a page on our website also to talk about some of the groups that we facilitate. I would encourage you to explore that, because it could be a game changer inside your agency. And I'm super excited about it. And I wish that everybody was part of a group like that. So yeah.
Me too. Well, you heard it here. Mastermind groups, absolutely happy to get you connected where we can if this is something you are interested in. There's plenty of groups that we work with, all different shapes and sizes of agencies. So feel free to email me, Lindsay with an A, Lindsay, agency-focus.com if this is something you're interested in, and I'll get you sent on the right way. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carey directly at carey@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.